hello, and thank you so much for tuning into my channel. My name is Tudi Mashazi, and if this is your first time being here, please comment, like, share, and subscribe, and then hit the notifications bell so that you don't miss out. There's so much more to come in this channel. I want to talk about something today that is very close to my heart. As you can tell, my voice suddenly became very serious because I'm very passionate about young people. Because as a young person, in the first 20 years of my life, people say you are the sum total of the decisions you make. Not so much. Perhaps they must qualify that statement. At a certain age, you are not the sum total of the decisions you make. You are the sum total of the decisions of the adults in your environment. So I wanted to equip today the young person who is below 20. So today's message is titled, How to Navigate the First 20 Years of Your Life. So I'd like to submit that life is in 3 phases. There's the first 20 years of your life where the environment dictates to you what you are to become. You open your eyes and you are surrounded by drinkers and smokers and violence, and that becomes your identity. That shapes your foundations. And then there's the second 20 years of your life where you might find if you didn't do something to change it, if you didn't live the first 20 years of your life with purpose and intention, you might destroy yourself further. And then the last 20 years of your life are when you are living out the consequences of your decisions. At the last 20 years of your life, there is hardly any new thing you can do. At the age of 60, between 50 and 60, there isn't much, so there isn't much you can do. You are living out the course. If you are a teacher, you are a teacher. Very rarely do you find somebody start a new career. There's a very few special people who start careers at that age. Most of us, we are just whatever we have become. The path we have chosen has been mapped out for us, and we are talking about the poem that Robert Frost wrote that says the road not taken. We are talking about a road we didn't take because we have taken a road, we have followed it, and we will never know what the other road would have taken us to. So I just want to speak today. If you have any young people in your environment, around you, near you, your family, your relatives, just post this to them. Download it and share it with them, and let them be aware that much as the environment is dictating to them what life is defining to them what life is, what finances are, what love is, what marriage is, they also have the intelligence to make a few quality decisions that'll determine how they spring off into the second 20 years of their life. So number 1, make quality decisions about your personal life, disregarding what the environment dictates. Quality decisions are decisions that you are well thought, and you can tell that if I make this decision, it will save me from certain consequences. Decisions like whether you're going to drink or not, make a quality decision in that regard. Whether you will engage in sex early or not, make a quality decision in that regard. Whether you will smoke drugs or not, you have to make a decision. And the quality of the decision you make will determine whether your life gets better or gets worse. And then the environment may be there saying what it is saying, but you still have the power in you. You are the king of your own life. You are the prophet of your own life. You have the power to determine what enters into your body and what doesn't. Despite what the environment may be saying, you still hold the power in you to say what you want your world to be. Make good use of that power. Number 2, open yourself up to being a student of life. Learn as much as you can from those who are navigating their second 20 years of life. There's this thing I was saying in class the other day, that sometimes we young people forget that the world is like an open book. There's so much to read, so much information to absorb from the world, and you would rather meet time and time again in order to learn your lessons. That is the wrong way to learn. Watch the people around you, the pitfalls that they fall into, the mistakes that they make. Look at the drug addict next door to your house and decide if that is who you want to be. Look at that unemployed man who used to skip work or who used to steal at his company and decide whether you want to be one of those statistics or not. Be a school of life. Don't wait for knocks. Don't be the graduate from the school of hard knocks where you're constantly getting knocked before you can realize that this decision is not a good one. Be wise, be smart, be observant. Open your eyes to the environment around you. Even your own relatives. You saw how she became pregnant young and you saw how her life changed in a drastic way. Then make your decision from there. Be a student of life. Be open to learning. Any person that speaks wisdom, if your heart is attuned to listening and collecting wisdom, you will know when somebody speaks that they're speaking wisdom, and you will open yourself up to learn from them. Sometimes people speak wisdom when they themselves realized it late that this wisdom could have saved their lives. Collect that wisdom. Even though they speak it from a place of devastation, collect the wisdom, go, equip yourself, empower yourself, live powerful. You don't have to make the same mistakes that the people who raised you made. Be a student of life. And number 3, choose quality friends who will be your support system when you go through struggles. And there are many at this stage. There's so many struggles. I say sometimes when I joke with kids that it's hot when you're a teenager. It's hot. It's hot in the head. It's hot in the heart. It's hot between the legs. It's just a season of storm and stress, and there's pressure. There's decisions to be made. There's demands on you. You know, life is demanding so much, and you are like, I'm just a child. And the world is saying, no, you're grown enough. And you're like, but I'm not grown enough. And sometimes you say, oh, I'm grown up, and the world says, no, you're a child. You're in between there, and it's quite an intense season. Even there, choose quality friends, grounded, solid friends, sober-minded friends who will become your support system when you go through struggles. Not a friend who will say, let's go and do an abortion. Not a friend that will say, friend, let's drink the sorrows away. Not a friend who will say, nah, let's go and dance. You know, let's look for a boyfriend and take off the stress. Look for quality friends. They're few, but they're there. Solid, grounded, sober-minded. They live their lives as if they are adults. Those are good friends. Choose among those. Especially the ones that people say are boring. They're too good. Those are good people. Avoid the popular ones who don't have a spine and they just want to fit in. Choose friends who will support you, who will stand with you. Friends who will help you when you've made a decision. They will even take the phone away from you and say, you're not calling that person because you told me you no longer want to talk to them. Friends who are strong like that. Choose good friends. Choose quality friends. And then number 4, do not distance yourself from family and relatives, no matter how corrupt they are. They are your God-given support system, and sticking with them will help you form your identity. The biggest crisis that we have as a society right now is a lack of identity, an overall lack of identity and individuality among young people. Sometimes you find there's this uniformity. It's like all of them, they do this. All of them, they act like they like this. I think that uniformity needs to be broken down. There are individual things about them. They must stand out. So as a young person, make a decision that you want to stand out. Define yourself in a world that seeks to paint you in the same brush with all teenagers. Define yourself. Who are you? And that starts with identifying who your family is. Don't disconnect from your family. Some of our uncles, they're just, what they are. But they love you. Collect the love that they give. It gives you roots. It keeps you grounded. Because the love family gives pure love, genuine love. Family rarely ever gives love that will cause you to do the wrong things and end up in trouble. It's rare. I know it happens, but it's rare. Don't disconnect yourself from family. Don't run away from home when there are challenges at home, or when they're putting you under pressure to transform, to choose your life in a certain direction. Don't run away from home. People who leave home thinking that they're going to live better away from home end up without dignity. They end up floating, just like a leaf floating around. If anyone does what they want with you, some of them end up being used by drug lords, and they end up being exploited. Some end up being pimped out. They end up being used to sell drugs. And you left home thinking that home was the worst place ever, but you end up in a worse place. So come on, stay at home. Stay at home. Don't disconnect from family. Don't ever entertain the feeling that the streets understand you better. Don't ever entertain the thought that your neighbor understands you better than your parents, or that distant relative understands you better than your family. Don't ever. They love you, and all this pressure that they're putting you under is because they believe that you still have a chance to transform into a good image, and all they're trying to do is to help you be that. So don't resist the love that they give you. Don't resist the correction that they give you, and end up in a worse place than what your family would have done with you. And then number 5, distance yourself from any system that attempts to groom you to be comfortable with things that are beyond your age, like drinking, smoking, drugs, dating, and irresponsible sexual behavior. This one is very very close to my heart, because as a child, part of my early years, before in the first 20 years of my life, at our house we had a shebeen, and we were selling alcohol. And I remember coming from school, when I was in primary school, coming from school to stock up on my mother's shebeen. I remember having to serve at the shebeen when the demand was a lot and there were few hands. I remember having to serve, and that environment wasn't good for me. It wasn't good for me because it made me okay with the smell of cigarettes and smoke and beer. It made me comfortable with the space that was beyond my age, that in a way was grooming. The environment was grooming me to be comfortable with drinking and smoking and lascivious lifestyle. I thank God that He gave me the prudence to do what needed to be done and not be part of it. I never participated. Even at this point in my life, I'm living in the second, I'm almost in the third 20 years of my life. You know, I'm still, I can say I have never drunk, never smoked. I chose it. It was a choice I had to make. Having seen what the environment had showed me, gave me the power to decide if I wanted to be part of that life and be drinking the family's money away Monday to Friday, or to determine my own future and set my own identity. And I did. I've done so much to depart from that environment, to depart from that lifestyle of drinking and irresponsible sexual behavior. I was exposed to the sounds and smells of sex when I was still too young to even understand that there was a thing called sex. That in a way is grooming. And I see sometimes adults who have these uncensored conversations. They are talking about their love lives and their sex lives, and this little child is sitting there absorbing all that. What you are saying to the child is that it is okay because we are doing it, you also can do it. The problem is you didn't tell them that there's repercussions to it. So you expose these poor kids to things that they're not even ready to handle. That to me is grooming. People talk about grooming in the way where an adult makes a child comfortable with being abused. That is grooming as well. When you teach a child, some adults, they show little kids their body parts, and then these kids grow up being okay. They're not even aware that it was wrong for this adult to show them their body parts. It was wrong for this adult to touch them in a certain way, to say certain things to them. But because it started when they were young and they were made to relax and to trust that adult, and then that adult decides that they're going to now take advantage of the trust and teach this child wrong things. It can even be drugs. It's not just abuse as in sex, but it can even be drugs, drinking, nightlife. Some adults groom children for distraction. So distance yourself from anything that introduces you to something that is beyond your age. If the TV advert says at 18 you cannot drink, then don't allow yourself to do it, even if it's your uncle who's offering it to you. Because some of our relatives, they've gone through whatever they went through and they've become pessimistic about life, and so they think, whatever. So they've given up and they want to give you the same spirit. Don't allow it. Distance yourself from attempts to groom you. Any system that attempts to groom you, distance yourself from it. And then number 6, focus on your education. People say education is the key. Very true. It's the key that will unlock an unimaginable world for you. I always say that a broke person with a degree is different, way different from a broke person who never went to school. Even a drug dealer who has a degree is different from the drug dealer who never went to school and got an education. I'm now just talking about the importance of education. A business person, an entrepreneur who has an educational background does their business in a different way from the one who just does it from instinct. So get an education. Focus on your education. It's not going to be forever that you will need school, but now is the foundation. In the first 20 years of your life, lay a good foundation. Get the education you need. Don't play and then find yourself stuck and having to go back to matric when you are now supposed to navigate the second 20 years or the third 20 years of your life. I know a musician who went to matric at the age of 60. Nothing wrong with that, but why didn't you go to school at the right time? So that we don't have to clap hands for you for doing things beyond the right time. You know? So focus on your education. It's the foundation for your future. Do what you must do quickly, so that you can get to the point where you can do what you choose to do with your time. Education is a must just for now. If you can do this, get your matric certificate, get your tertiary qualification. Thereafter, if you choose to be a loafer, do it. No one will bother you. But allow the support that the family is giving you. Get all the education you need. This period of your life, the first 20 years of your life, it's not for you to make money. It's not for you to be famous. It's not for you to be popular. It's the time for you to knuckle up, get your education, and build from there. Spread your wings later on. You know, it's different to have fun when you can afford it. And when you want to have fun riding on someone else's back, because when you do that, then you end up being exploited. I know stories of girls who were invited out of town for fun and they ended up having to walk home because the owner of the car decided to leave early or decided not to travel with them anymore because they could not offer what they were asking for. So, education will give you the power to make your own decisions, to determine your own life, to determine the course of your life, the direction you want your life to take. Education will unlock for you doors, tremendous doors. Even a miracle is not powerful enough. To say you want to survive by a miracle, you know, you hear people telling testimonies of how I got employed into a managerial position and I wasn't even qualified, I wasn't even educated. That's just a miracle. You cannot live your life on miracles. You can intentionally, purposefully, and deliberately make decisions and walk out your decisions and work out your decisions and live out your decisions and be powerful. Be powerful. And I just want to add one last point, number 7. Be aware that the world is competing to sit at the throne of your heart. Every child has a throne in their heart. You also have a throne in your heart. And the devil wants to sit on that throne and rule your life. Drugs want to sit on that throne and rule your life. Alcohol wants to sit on that throne and rule your life. Premarital sex wants to sit on that throne and rule your life. Now, make the decision. Who are you going to make the center of your life? I made Jesus the center of my life. And when I did that, it was the best decision I could ever make. That's how I could survive in a shebeen and never be absorbed in the life. That's how I could live in a family where the relatives that my mother brought into our house would bring their lovers in the night, and the house was just like a brothel. I could not participate in all that because Jesus had already entered into my heart and he had become the king of all that mattered to me. And I wanted to make him happy. I wanted Jesus to be pleased. I wanted Jesus to love me more. And that became the saving grace for my life. So make a decision today. What are you going to allow to sit at your throne? Some people have already been overtaken by rebellion. You have allowed lawlessness and rebellion to sit at the throne of your heart, and the devil is ruling you, telling you are powerful when you are uncontrollable. And so you are destroying your own life by your own decisions, resisting all the love and assistance that your family wants to offer. Dethrone all unprincipled powers that you have allowed into your heart. Dethrone them. Take them out. Personally, my biggest cry is that my children, because they're still in the first 12 years of their lives, that I can sit there in the throne of their lives so that I can navigate for them, make godly decisions for them. And when they are old enough to take the reign and make their own decisions, I'll step aside and allow them. But I know that if they can trust me, I will make the best decisions for them. I will make godly decisions for them, knowing that God has trusted me to be a steward over their lives. I don't want to keep on for long, but thank you so much for listening. Please make sure this message reaches every person who's navigating the first 20 years of their life. And I'd love to know the comments. I'd love to hear your views on this in the name of Jesus. Thank you so much for listening. I love you and I appreciate you. God bless you.